Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. It definitely helps the channel. And like I always said, if this is your first time watching the channel, please subscribe. And if you would like to be notified, or one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification button right below this video. I'm gonna get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Keefe D has informed the court that he's able to make bail. Keefe D, we know, who was basically charged late last year, should I say, in the murder of Tupac Shakur after confessing numerous times, as well as in his self-professed memoir. And I say that to say that, that Keefe D's book, as I had bought the book, I wanted to read it. I wanted to inform myself about what it was that he said in regards to the situation involving Tupac, and just a little bit more about who he was from that perspective. His book is a memoir, so based on the fact that that is believed to be true, and also confessed numerous times, all the dialogue, Vlad, and all of the other places where he confessed to being involved and an integral part of planning and orchestrating and carrying out the assassination of Tupac Shakur. And so Keefe D's been sitting in Clark County Detention Center for approximately 6 to 8 months. And now he's been able to gather up the money to be able to post bail. Like I said, I believe that anybody who's charged with any crime deserved a fair shot at trying to defend themselves. And I think the best place a person could defend themselves is on the streets, and not from a prison law library, or basically communicating with their attorney through a piece of glass, or and being in a prison cell. But like I said before, it's going to be hard. Like I said, being granted bail is one thing, and we've seen a lot of people being granted bail who were then later convicted of the crime that they were basically charged with from that perspective. And so when we hear about this, as the court had argued, or should I say, as the state had argued before, they believed that Keefe D was still a threat, and still had gang ties from that perspective. Even the judge had agreed on that, but she still, in turn, was fair and impartial and granted Keefe D bail, which I thought was a very professional thing and noble thing to do from the judge's perspective. Like I said, everybody deserves a fair shake, but the person who I don't think that gave Keefe D a fair shake is Keefe D. At this particular time, the many confessions, like I say, I count over 10 times that he's confessed to being involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur. And we must look at also his criminal history and what is plausible. And they tell us that, Keefe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, basically said that Keefe D won't be taking a stand at trial. Like I told you before, I think that's a mistake, because if the jury is allowed to hear over and over and over and over and over again him repeating on these various tapes and interviews, mainly on the art of dialogue. Like I'll tell you that, as a matter of fact, you go check out some of the art of dialogue. And Art had asked him one question involving what did you do after the situation with Tupac, when Tupac was shot? Where did you go? And I believe he said he went to some place called the Carriage House. Where did you put the gun? He said under the wheel well. And then also, not only that, but Keefe D also told the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department that he was the person that was responsible for hiding the weapon, if you will. And like I said, they have all of this on a tape confession, as well as the transcripts, in which they're going to be planning on using in court. And so, like I said, though I think Keefe D making the bail is a good thing for him and his family, I don't think that the things that he has said in the past, and doubling and tripling down on being involved with the assassination of Tupac Shakur, I don't think those things are going to bode well when he goes to trial in November, if you will. And so when we look at the bigger picture of what this is and what this means, it's going to be very, 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 very interesting. I'll also say this, in them trying to court Foxy Brown, after Keefe D mentioned Foxy Brown. Like I said, none of us as the public would have known Foxy Brown was even in Vegas that night if it hadn't been for Keefe D mentioning her name, right? Mentioning her name, saying that she was in the car with Zip, when he walked up, and that Zip asked Foxy Brown to step outside, and Keefe D claiming or alleging that Zip gave him the 40 Glock 9mm that was used to kill Tupac, and that Keefe D said Foxy Brown recognized him, and Keefe D also said Foxy Brown witnessed Zip giving him the gun. And then Keefe D stated what he did with the gun after that. And so, I think a lot of what he said against himself is very detrimental, very detrimental. Then on top of that, like I said, when we talk about the proffer agreement, right? So there was a reason that Keefe D was granted a proffer agreement involving the murder of Tupac Shakur. And the reason why he was granted the proffer agreement, because he was facing a drug conspiracy charge, in which the Los Angeles Police Department, along with the federal government, were able to make undercover buys that were recorded on tape from different informants, in which they basically backed Keefe D into a corner, and he then agreed to tell what he knew involving the murder of Tupac Shakur, including admitting that his nephew was the one that shot Tupac Shakur. And so with that being said, now that Keefe D has came out, and now that he's been held accountable for his words and what he says was his actions at that time, now basically Keefe D, by him saying that, hey, you know what, once he got arrested, that everything was just, it was all a lie. I did it for the money and the fame. I did it because Greg Kei D wrote a book, and so on and so forth. By him saying all of those things, right, and admitting that he lied to Greg Kei D and the U.S. attorney, Keefe D can now also be charged, right? Hypothetically, the murder charges don't stick, right? Keefe D now can be charged for that drug case that he was initially given the proffer agreement for, after now saying that he lied about everything. It was all a lie. Everything was a lie, right? I've never seen a case like this. I've never seen a criminal case like this. I've never seen, and I'm sure probably many defense attorneys who's been watching this case. I'm not a defense attorney, but somebody who understands law a little bit and kind of studies and does my due diligence when it comes to situations like this. I don't think that many people have seen a situation where a person would, in fact, take a proffer agreement under a drug charge to admit being involved in a high profile murder charge. I just don't know where they do that at. Like I said, that just baffles me. And a lot of other people, and like I said, this is why we are all individuals, and everybody can do what they feel like they want to do in their individual capacity. But me personally, I've never seen anybody do that, if you will, and now place themselves in a catch-22 situation, So it's like the OJ situation. Yeah, he got off for the murders, but then went to Vegas and did something crazy, and then they gave him 30 some odd years, 9 years served, and all of this, that, and the other. But we knew at that particular time that the case didn't warrant that much time, but that the judge was in fact basically punishing him for the murder of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. I'm sorry. And so, yeah. And so now we have the situation kind of somewhat to Keefe D, but he got a proffer agreement, didn't beat the charge, got a proffer agreement involving his drug case, and only to admit to being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur and doubling and tripling down over like 10 times. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. And if that in turn would be something that the U.S. attorney would then file charges, I wouldn't say afterwards, because they can file charges right now if they felt like they wanted to, involving the situation. And like I said, Foxy Brown being mentioned by Keefe D, you know what I mean? Nobody can blame Foxy Brown if she were to come to testify. You can't call her a snitch. You know what I mean? And people wanting to use that word so loosely, so callously, based on the fact that it doesn't fit their argument or their side of the situation, I choose not even to listen to, because people like that lack a sense of intelligence that, you know, would allow them to be anything greater than what they are right now by just thinking on that level. Like, you can't think on that level. Like, hey, everybody's responsible for their actions. And so by Keefe D mentioning Foxy Brown, he then put Foxy Brown in the line of fire from that perspective. Recently on the Art of Dialogue, Gene Deal recently said that he would be willing to testify about the $1 million check that Eric Von Zip allegedly received from Sean Puffy Combs. If they brought a case against Puffy involving the murder for hire plot of Tupac Shakur. And that was new information to me, not the fact that about the check part, but that Gene Deal said he would be willing to testify on the state's behalf in regards to that. So, like I said, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know. Like I said, even with the bail situation, like I said, I really don't know, you know, where the money's coming from. They're having a source hearing on the 25th of June, which is Tuesday, if you will. And so we're going to see exactly where this leads to from that perspective. You know, let me enter it hypothetically, if you will. Could the government be getting him out? Sure. We don't know that. That's what the source hearing is about. I'm interested. Will they make the sources of the money bailing him out public from that perspective, or will they keep that private? We don't know that. So, like I said, once again, what the Gene Deal situation, what Keefe D said in regards to Sean Puffy Combs being involved and wanting something to happen to Tupac and Suge, and all of those things in the initial statements, which they're going to be using in the trial. They're going to be using Keefe D's initial statement that he made to Greg Kei D them, now that they felt like he went against the proffer agreement and said that it was all a lie. He gave them the in, not the out, but the in, to be able to use that information now against him at trial. I've never seen that happen before. Me personally, you know, I don't know if anybody, if you guys ever seen that happen before, but I've never seen it happen. And so with that being said, yeah, this is going to get real interesting. Real interesting. And so, and hypothetically, let's say Keefe D is convicted. Now, do they pursue Sean Puffy Combs? Or let's say Keefe D takes a plea and agrees to testify against Sean Puffy Combs. Takes a plea to the lesser, you know, and say, hey, but we, in exchange, like I said, Michael Cohen just did it to Donald Trump. Michael Cohen went to prison. Yeah. Tax evasion and lying to investigators, right? Listen to me. Tax evasion and lying to investigators. Went to prison. Donald Trump brought up on the Stormy Daniels and the money involving that, campaign finance, and so on and so forth, and was found guilty on 34 felonies. 34 of them, right? With the testimony and Michael Cohen actually testifying against his former boss and one-time person that he represented in Donald Trump. So it's never been heard of. We just seen it approximately 3 weeks ago, if you will. So that's why I say this is going to get really, really interesting. And, you know, I think this is going to be a huge trial. And like I said, I'm right here just to see, and like I said, the legal maneuvering all of the things, the motions that are going to be filed, all of those things. I'm here for all of that. I'm waiting for all of that. So, like I said, but Keefe D will have a source hearing as to where the money is coming from to pay his bail on June 25th. And that's Tuesday. And so we will see what happens. Some of the stipulations have already been set. He's going to be on house arrest, the ankle monitoring bracelet, and so on and so forth. And it's also going to be interesting what the prosecutors argue if the judge decides to grant him bail. So like I said, tell me what you guys think about the situation. Chime in, leave your comments. Thank you for tuning in. Your boy DELRAY, Straight Gang.